Hey everybody, it is Brent Daniels, TTP, and I am with the one, the only, Mr. Todd Toback. Todd, tell me what's going on, man. How are you?
Man, I am ready to rock, ready to talk about doing more deals, bigger deals, how to steal deals away from your competition and create massive profits in your business. Big fan of yours, Brent. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, we've had a couple of videos now. We've done a couple of these interviews, and every time everybody's like, "Hey, Brent, seriously, like, you got to put Todd on more. You got to get him. You got to get him more on the YouTube channel, more on the podcast, because people are really like seriously implementing what you are teaching. Just from watching the videos, just from the podcast, whatever else. I mean, it's just been phenomenal. And I said this on the last videos. I say this every time, but my acquisition managers, my whole team actually, my texters, my cold callers, they all I literally play your no limit sales system in our sales meetings every single week because it's pretty robust. I mean, there's a lot to it, right? I mean, how many hours are in the no limit sales system? I don't even know. I don't even know if you know, but it's like it's like been a year. We still haven't got through it all.
Well, I tell you, talking to people, I mean, our craft is talking to people, right?
Yeah.
We make money by talking to people and extracting deals out of that. And if you're a wholesaler and if you're talking to people and you're not refining your craft, you're absolutely crazy, right? Your ability to influence and talk to sellers and extract motivation and prioritize who you're speaking with will directly have effect on your bottom line, and that's what we're here to talk today about, Brent. I'm on a mission to eradicate the world, of unprofitable wholesalers.
I love it because that's the thing. At least that's what I get all the time. I'm sure you get it all the time. Oh, my deals are getting smaller. It's getting squeezed. The margins are getting squeezed. I can't close as many deals, but we're still closing. We're still closing big deals, Todd.
Right.
I mean, we're still closing big deals every single week, and I think it's just, I think that we have some extra tools that other people don't have, or extra training, and really, we're really focused on the actual sales process when we're getting this lead, and then we're taking it all the way to the finish line. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you're the best. I mean, you're the best at it. I'm tooting your horn because I really want people to be influenced by this video and influenced by you, because I know if they do, they're going to do a lot bigger deals. So what do you do? What do you teach? What do you tell people? Or how do you get such huge deals?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, I remember when I first got started, Brent, right, and meeting with that motivated seller, and literally, my hands were shaking. I didn't know what to say. I was scared that they were thinking that I was a sham and that I couldn't close the deal. And I can't tell you how many people I wasted my time with. Right, I mean, my ego getting bruised every single time I talked to an unmotivated seller, right? And so finally, when I did run into a motivated seller, I wouldn't recognize it if it hit me right between the eyes, right? And so I knew, not being a natural-born salesperson, I was actually really bad, that I had to create a system. Right, and so I started reading all the books, and I started getting coaches and listening, and so I took all of that, right, and I put that into our no limit selling system. And by the way, as Brent and I go to this, Brent and I are actually doing an in-depth training on coming up here. It's really time sensitive, actually, here in a couple of days. Mm-hmm. What is that domain, Brent? It's
howtoclosesellers.com. It is going to be absolutely bananas. Howtoclosesellers.com. It's kind of hard to do, like, for Todd and I to really dig in specifically on a YouTube channel, because let's be honest, most YouTube videos are only watched for like 7 or 8 minutes. Right. So this is for the people that are really committed to understanding this, that you're actually out there implementing the things that you're learning, the instruction that you're getting, and this is going to be much longer, more in-depth webinar, which is going to be it's going to be bananas. It's going to be crazy.
Right. Well, so let me talk about that, right? Howtoclosesellers.com. Again, this is really time sensitive. It's going to happen here in a couple of days, so check it out, howtoclosesellers.com. Register if you do anything from this video. But one of the things I want to talk about specifically, and again, this is just like we'll scratch the surface.
Yeah.
Is there are 3 kinds of leads. Right, 3 kinds of leads. We're going to talk a little bit about this, right? There's the lay down lead, right? Of course, where all of a sudden someone calls and they are ready to close, right? Who doesn't love a lay down, right? Right, and believe me, you don't need any special skill to do that. As a matter of fact, it takes special skill to kill a lay down, right? But those are few and far between.
Yep.
Right? You have the right place, right time. You can't base your business on that. And then there's the ice cold lead, right? People who will never do business with us, and hopefully on this training, we're going to teach you how to not spend those time with people, and hopefully you get off the phone with those people relatively quickly. What people don't talk about is what they call the secret motivated seller, the middle seller right here, who actually has the secret motivation, but they're not willing to do that. And what actually the secret here, Brent, right, is that most motivated sellers are actually, right, secretly motivated. They don't want to share it. So I talk about this analogy a lot. When you go to a car lot to buy a car, you're on the lot. Salesman walks up to you. What do you say?
Mm-hmm. No. I'm just looking. Right. I don't. I'm just walking around. I'm thinking about it, but I'm good.
Right, and so most salespeople go, oh, okay, see you later, and then walk on to the next one, right? Well, what are you doing on a car lot on a Saturday afternoon with your wife, right? You do this for fun, right? And so actually you are there to shop, you just don't want to be pressured. And so there's this whole set of skills that actually I've developed over the years with coaches and mentors that I've taught myself, and then I've taught my acquisition specialists and your team. We talked about this.
I know.
To focus on that middle portion, right, where this is the secret motivated seller, because they're not going to tell you they're motivated. So it's really, really important, because you can spend a lot of time, if you don't know what you're doing, you spend a lot of time with that first group who are unmotivated, right? And so it's your job, using your skills, to ask the right question, to get in there and extract out those secret motivated sellers, right? Because that's where 80% of the business lies, right? Let's assume that you do a lie down every single month. You spend $10,000 on marketing, or let me be conservative here. You spend $3,000 on marketing. You do an $8,000 deal. You're going to be out of business here pretty quick.
Yep.
But imagine now you take that $8,000 deal, you turn it into 15, and now you're able to take that $3,000 budget and turn it into 4 or 5 more deals. Well, that's a difference maker, right? That's the difference. When you go on Facebook or Instagram and you see people posting checks of their $50,000 and $100,000 months, right? I guarantee you those people are using the no limit selling system, right? There's a secret web here of people who have been influenced by this thing.
It is.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, it is. I mean, honestly, it's amazing how many people, the top people that have gone through the no limit sales. And listen, people are like watching this, and maybe they've seen us before or heard us before in the podcast, and they're like, why do they keep talking about this no limit, or why does Brent keep bringing it up? Like, literally, you took us from $12,000 a deal. We're at $27,000 a deal. Like, this is real life. This is like, I want to give you so much value, but you got to take the extra step. You got to check out the webinar for sure, and then really get an idea of what extra skills and what extra tools in the toolbox you need. Because I agree with you, Todd. It's like, you give that metaphor of somebody standing on a car lot on a Saturday. Well, that guy standing on a car lot on a Saturday are the people that are foreclosing on their properties. These are the people that are inheriting properties that are totally beat up. These are your driving for dollars leads. These are your tax defaults. These people are on the car lot, guys. They're on the car lot, and they're always going to give you a reflex no. Not always, unless it's a laydown. But there's ways to get past it and really uncover whether or not these people are motivated. And most importantly, get rid of the people that'll never do business with you.
Oh, quickly.
Right? It'll totally just rust your whole business if you are just sitting there with a bunch of leads that'll never, ever, ever, ever do business with you. So, howtoclosesellers.com.
Howtoclosesellers.com. We're going to go into detail. We're going to try to hit some stuff in this video, but again, Brent and I are doing a live training, again, really time sensitive, so make sure to register right after you watch this video. But perfect example, Brent, we did a deal right now. Brian, our acquisition specialist, was dealing with a duplex in Imperial Beach, right? And the guy was like, hey, he responded to a text, and he says, send me an offer, right? He goes, I'm just curious to see if you'll insult me.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
It's funny, right? Because it's really easy at that point to say, oh, this guy's not motivated, right? Because most wholesalers are in the business. They're like, hey, if someone's not a laydown, right, forget it. I'm not spending time with him, right? Well, Brian I've trained this guy from the ground up, right? We've role played, you know, I went with him on appointments when he started, we were working together. And so the first thing he says is, hey, you know, it sounds like, right? This is a technique that we talk about, reversing, right? Or, I'm sorry, it's called a stealth mismatch. Something that we'll talk about in detail, okay, on the webinar, right? But a stealth mismatch, he goes, hey, it sounds like, right, because I'm an investor, right, that you're against me making a profit.
Love it.
Right?
Love it. No, yeah, right. It's either,
right?
I don't want you to make a profit.
Right? Now, think about it. It's kind of counterintuitive, right? That's why we call it the stealth mismatch.
Yep.
Right? And all of a sudden he goes, well, I don't have a problem with you making a profit. I just don't want to be insulted. Boom. Right? So now we were able to wedge in. I'm not saying this is a deal, right? But now we smell something. And now this is going to take us down a path.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now Brian maintained control of the conversation, because what happens here is that most people lose control. Right? And the guy says, hey, well, make me an offer. Right? Well, now we do something called reversing, which is something we'll go into on the webinar. And Brian says, well, look, you know, obviously you mentioned about being insulted. What kind of number would insult you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Boom, got a number out of the guy. We locked up the deal yesterday, right? Should be $30,000, $40,000 deal, right? It's not a $100K deal, but you know what? We'll take it from the unmotivated, motivated, right? That's also a nickname that we call them the unmotivated, motivated sellers, right? Because they're not really telling you the truth, right? They're holding it in, and that's where the money is, right? Now, we talked a little bit about those two techniques, right? There's the stealth mismatch, which we're going to go into detail, and there's also the reversing. But there's actually 5 of these techniques that we're going to talk about on this webinar, right? You got to get on there, howtoclosesellers.com, register. It's going to be a ton of content. So, Brent, give me another example. I mean, before we wrap up, again, I get on the webinar, but bounce it back, right? What do you think everyone else wants to hear that's really, really struggling out there?
Well, I think the biggest thing is they won't give me a price. They won't give me a price. They won't give me a price. I ask them a lot of different ways, but I just can't get a price out of them. Like, that's the biggest one that I get from my TTP family, my TTP students is, you know what, I've got I almost get a text. I get several texts a day that they're like, what do you think about this deal? And I'm like, well, what price do they want? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, find out what price they want so you know if you're wasting your time or not. Because it's huge, right? We have condition, timeline, motivation, and price. Like, we need to get these 4 pre-qualifiers out so that we know if this is somebody that has a problem that we can solve. And so the price is always the biggest one. Pulling that price out of the seller is always the biggest and hardest one to get. So, I think it's one of those things that in this market right now, they say, well, listen, I'm talking to a lot of other investors or a lot of buyers or an agent. You tell me your price and I'll see if how it compares to them.
Well, oh man, this is so good, right? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to tell you something that, of course, Brent, as soon as I say it, you're going to relate to it. But there's one thing that's a key component here. Right? And when you're in this business, you're successful, you develop it, right? 99% of this is your mindset.
Yep.
Is your mindset. So the reason why people don't get a price is that they're scared of losing the deal.
100%.
So we've got 5 ways that we actually get a number out of people, right? So we ask 5 different ways, and that's how you measure it, 5 different questions. And guess what? You're like, Todd, how do I get a price out of the guy? Well, if you ask 5 different ways and 5 different times and you don't get it, you're probably not getting it.
Yep.
Unless, right, you do one thing that I'm going to talk about right here, and we'll go into detail on the webinar, because some people, they will, well, first of all, you got to have the guts to ask 5 times, first of all, right? Because most people, they're thinking, I don't want to lose the deal, I don't want to offend the seller, right? Well, you can't kill a motivated seller. So, let's understand that. If you lose,
will you say that again, please, Todd?
You can't kill a motivated seller.
Thank you.
You can't kill it.
No.
Right? So, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? If all of a sudden you lose a deal and they hang up on you, you know what? You weren't getting the deal anyway. Hello, right? So thank you. You save yourself some time, right? So now you ask 5 times. If you don't ask 5 times, this is where your mindset comes in. And actually, it's Brent and I are actually really working on something really special. Not going to talk about it here. So you're going to watch out here in the next couple of months. But your mindset is huge, right? And so what we do is we go really low, right? And most people don't do that because they're scared of losing the deal. When you go really low, right? You know what's going to happen, Brent?
When you go really low in the price?
Really, if they won't give you a price,
yeah,
right, and you go really low.
Oh yeah. Happens? Well, then they're going to give you a price. They're going to say no. They're going to give you some sort of response. They're going to give you some sort of answer. They're going to, kind of come, the price that they had in mind might get knocked down a little bit lower. Yeah.
Right? But then they throw you a bone. Then they give you the number. But you don't get the real number until you have the guts, until you get the mindset, right? Until you're ready to lose the deal.
Yep.
Then and only then do you get the real number. So if someone jumps on the phone with Brent and says, hey, what's the number? Guess what? Now you know it because you have the guts. Right? Most people don't ask it because they're scared to either A, lose the deal, or B, they don't want to know the answer.
Yep.
And so when you know the answer, you got the data, that's how you make money in this business. That's how you influence. So if you want to know more, you got to go to howtoclosesellers.com.
Yep. Howtoclosesellers.com. That is it. We're done. Thank you, Todd. That was absolutely fantastic. I love it. We're ready to go. I'm excited to jump on this and do this with you. Everybody, seriously, jump on. It's free. Howtoclosesellers.com. It's going to be absolutely bananas. Todd and I are going to bring a ton of energy and, more importantly, a ton of instruction and a ton of tools that you can implement right away in your business. So check it out, howtoclosesellers.com. You guys are the best. Love you. See ya.